Hey everyone, thanks for checking in the War Room Huddle ahead of tonight's Republican presidential debate. Today we're talking about taxes, an issue that's sure to be a focal point tonight. We're going to drill down into the Republicans' tax plans and what they mean for the economy and for the middle class. So let's talk about what we're likely to hear tonight.
I think we're going to hear a lot about tax plans, and that means tax cuts for the rich. It's not the most exciting thing to most people. You know, people don't love math. Maybe your eyes glaze over a little bit when it's a whole debate tonight. But it's going to have a really big impact on, the middle class and people who are watching tonight.
So let's talk a little bit more about Marco Rubio's plan, which caused a little bit of controversy in the debate last week. The truth is, the bulk of this benefit is going to the ultra-rich. The top 1% get 103 times the tax break that the lowest 20%.
Yeah. Rubio's plan is actually the worst of all the candidates, which is something hard to do because they're all pretty
They're
right.
all terrible.
But Rubio's plan actually gives a higher percentage of money to those at the top than any of the other Republicans in the field.
And a big way that he does that is by eliminating the capital gains tax, which is a huge benefit to the ultra-rich.
Yes. So if you're Mitt Romney, you made $13 or $14 million in a year from your investments, you would pay zero in taxes. While somebody, who works for Mitt Romney or somebody who's a teacher or a fireman would still have to pay the normal tax rate.
That's incredible.
Yes.
But it's not just Rubio. The heart of Jeb Bush's tax plan is reducing income tax rates, including slashing the top income tax rate. And so the biggest benefit is going to those making over $406,000 a year. And while he doesn't go quite as far as Marco Rubio on capital gains, he does cut capital gains as well. So it's a big benefit to the ultra-rich.
Yeah, if you're Jeb Bush, your tax plan is great for Jeb Bush. He gets about $800,000 in your pocket. So you're also going to hear a lot about the flat tax. We've heard Carson's talking about it, Cruz is talking about it, kind of one rate for everybody. What's going on with that?
The flat tax is a perennial favorite of hardline conservatives, and it's something that they talk about a lot on the campaign trail, and they like to equate it being fair with it being simple. Everybody pays the same rate. But the truth is that that's not really the case. It's one of the most regressive tax plans out there. And the other component to a flat tax that's problematic for the Republicans is how you pay for it. The Republicans go out on the campaign trail and say we can provide a flat tax of 15%, 10%, but the truth is that you would need a much bigger tax if you were going to fund the government, or on the alternative, you'd have to really shrink down the government in order to sustain a flat tax like that to the point where we would basically have no services.
Yeah, the flat tax is even actually a much bigger cut than the regressive policies of Jeb Rubio and Trump. And I think that's going to be the difference you're going to see tonight is the, fight to get to the right of the stage as much as you can. Who can cut the most? Who can take the most away from Social Security and Medicare? Who can give the biggest tax cuts to the rich? But, a problem they could be facing tonight is they're on Fox News,
right.
Fox Business. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to try to accuse them of bias. So they're either going to have to, come out, finally admit that their tax policies favor the rich and don't do as much for the middle class. Or if they try to lie, we're going to be fact-checking them. The professional fact-checkers will be watching, and it's going to be a time now where they can't, get away with lying about their plans and who they benefit.
Absolutely. Well, it should be very interesting.
Hope so.
Join us online tonight on social media where we'll be fact-checking whatever it is the Republicans claim about their tax plans.